You're not stuck because you don't have time. You're not stuck because you're not smart enough, talented enough, or lucky enough. You're stuck because you keep waiting for the right time, for more confidence, for motivation to magically strike and carry you into the life you say you want. And I'm here to tell you, that's never going to happen. If you're waiting to feel ready, you're already behind. And if you keep listening to the lies your excuses are feeding you, nothing is going to change. But here's the good news: 1 month can change everything. 1 month of showing up differently. 1 month of getting uncomfortable on purpose. 1 month of replacing your excuses with action. You don't need more information. You don't need another podcast. You don't need a 12-step program. You need 1 month of radical ownership and the guts to take action before you're ready. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about feeling inspired every day. It's about building habits that work when your feelings don't. Because let's be honest, motivation is garbage. It's inconsistent, it's emotional, and it will abandon you the second life gets hard. But your habits, your systems, they're what will carry you when motivation taps out. So if you're here looking for comfort, you're in the wrong place. But if you're ready to stop overthinking, stop waiting, and start doing, then let's go. Because the truth is simple: you are one decision away from a totally different life. You are one decision away from a totally different life. And I'm not talking about something dramatic like quitting your job on a whim or selling everything you own to travel the world. I'm talking about something much smaller, deceptively small, like getting up the first time your alarm goes off, like putting your phone down instead of scrolling, like finally speaking up in a meeting instead of playing it safe. We keep waiting for the big things to happen to shake us out of our patterns. But the truth is, life doesn't change with big things. Life changes with one decision and then another, stacked one on top of the other. You already know what to do. That's the part people don't want to admit. You know what you need to stop doing. You know what you need to start doing. You know who drains you. You know who inspires you. You know what feels right in your gut. But the gap between knowing and doing is where most people live. You're not stuck. You're just scared. You're scared that if you actually made the decision, if you actually acted on what you know is right for you, then things would really start to change. And that means letting go of comfort, of predictability, of whatever story you've been telling yourself about why it's not the right time or why you're not ready. Let me be really clear. Your life is not going to magically transform with time. Time changes nothing. Action does. A year from now, you'll either be proud of the decisions you started making today, or you'll be sitting in the exact same spot, wishing you had. That's the difference between people who change their lives and people who don't. It's not that they had more money or time or talent or luck. It's that they made a decision and they acted on it, period. And here's what no one tells you. You don't have to feel ready to make a decision. You don't have to feel brave or confident or even calm. You just have to decide. In fact, most life-changing decisions happen when you're scared out of your mind, but you do it anyway. The moment you decide to act in spite of fear, everything shifts. You open a door that was always there, but you couldn't see it because you kept looking for permission. You don't need permission. You need courage, and courage doesn't show up first. Courage comes from deciding and doing, not waiting and wondering. Think back to every major shift in your life, good or bad. They all came down to one moment, one choice: the decision to speak up, the decision to walk away, the decision to try, the decision to believe in yourself for just 5 seconds longer than usual. Those 5 seconds, they matter more than your entire past, because that's the power of decision. One choice can redirect your momentum. It can interrupt the pattern that's been running your life for years. It can silence the voice that says, "What if it doesn't work?" with a louder voice that says, "What if it does?" We waste so much time overthinking the next step that we paralyze ourselves. You don't need to map out the whole journey. You just need to take the first step, decide, that's it. Decide to change your morning, decide to be honest, decide to stop waiting, decide to start writing, decide to sign up, show up, speak up. You are one decision away from momentum, one decision away from creating a habit that shifts your energy, your attitude, your results. one decision away from proving to yourself that you're capable of far more than your comfort zone has allowed you to experience. I know what you're thinking, but what if it's the wrong decision? Let me tell you something. The wrong decision is still better than no decision, because at least now you've got information. You're moving. You're learning, you're adjusting. You're not stuck in your head anymore. Clarity comes through action, always. Confidence comes from doing, always. Sitting around analyzing every possibility is just fear in disguise. It's procrastination dressed up like intelligence. Make the decision. See what happens. Pivot if you need to. But don't lie to yourself and call indecision wisdom. It's not. It's fear. And that fear, it's not going to go away before you act. It's not supposed to. Fear is a sign you're doing something that matters, something that could actually change your life. Start before you're ready, because if you wait to feel ready, you'll be waiting forever. Readiness is a lie your brain tells you to keep you safe. It's that voice that says, not yet. Just a little more planning, a little more preparation, a little more confidence. But that voice isn't your ally. It's fear disguised as logic. Fear pretending to protect you. The truth is, no one ever feels ready to change their life. No one ever feels ready to take a risk, speak the truth, launch the project, change the job, write the book, get vulnerable, ask for help, or go after the thing they actually want. If you think success begins with feeling ready, you'll never take the first step. That's the trap. Most people are walking around with ideas that could change everything for themselves, for their families, even for the world, but those ideas are locked behind this one excuse. I'm not ready. They're waiting to feel more confident, more qualified, more experienced, more anything. And all that waiting is just another form of procrastination. Let's call it what it really is. It's a stall. It's a mental trick. It's fear trying to dress itself up as responsibility. You don't get ready and then start. You start, and that's how you get ready. You build confidence by showing up. You gain experience by doing the work. You figure it out by figuring it out, not by sitting on the sidelines overthinking every possible outcome. Everyone who's done anything that matters started before they were ready. They started with doubt, with questions, with shaky hands, with a voice in their head screaming, "Who do you think you are?" And they did it anyway. That's the difference. They acted in the absence of readiness. Think about the first time you did something new, driving a car, starting a job, learning a skill. You weren't ready, but you figured it out by doing it. Life works the same way. Action creates clarity. Action reveals the path. Planning is useful up to a point, but then it becomes a cage, because the longer you plan, the more you expect perfection, and perfection is the enemy of starting. People get stuck perfecting the plan instead of taking the first imperfect step. This 1-month plan you're about to follow, it doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be in motion. It needs you to stop stalling and start, not next week, not when you have more time, not when you feel less tired or more confident. Now, right now, you don't need a guarantee. You need guts. You don't need certainty. You need courage. The moment you take action, everything starts to shift. You see options you couldn't see before. You create momentum where there was none. You silence the overthinking by doing anything real. And don't tell yourself you need to wait until you feel more qualified. You become qualified by taking action. No one is born with a resume of proof. The people you admire, they just started. While everyone else was waiting, they were doing. While everyone else was asking if they were good enough, they were getting better. You're not behind, you're just not moving. You don't have to leap into chaos, just take one step. Send the email, write the first paragraph, record the first video, make the call, ask the question, set the alarm. One small step is all it takes to punch fear in the face and prove to yourself that you're in control. And guess what? You're going to mess up. Good. That means you're doing something. That means you're learning. That means you're growing. That means you're alive. Perfection is not the goal, progress is. Starting isn't about being fearless. It's about being willing to feel the fear and move forward anyway. That's what builds grit. That's what builds trust in yourself. That's what builds the kind of life that doesn't rely on luck or motivation, but on deliberate, consistent, uncomfortable action. You already have everything you need to begin. Stop collecting tools and start using them. Stop looking for signs and start creating them. The biggest lie is that you need more of anything to begin. You don't. You need less thinking, less planning, less waiting, less pretending that you're not ready. Because the only thing standing between the life you have and the life you want is the courage to start before you're ready. Motivation is garbage. Seriously, if you're relying on motivation to get things done, you've already lost the game, because motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. Motivation is like that friend who hypes you up when it's fun but disappears the second things get hard. It's the high you get when you're inspired by a YouTube video at 2 a.m. But it vanishes the next morning when your alarm goes off and your bed is warm and your goals don't feel so sexy anymore. If you want to change your life, you need to stop chasing motivation and start building discipline. Habits, systems, things that don't care how you feel, they just get done. Think about it. How often have you said something like, "I'll do it when I feel more motivated"? You won't. You'll push it off, delay it, overthink it, and before you know it, a week's gone by, then a month, then a year. Motivation is not a strategy. It's a spark, and sparks don't last. They ignite, and then they die unless you've got something built underneath to keep the fire going. That something is habits. Automatic, consistent, often boring habits. The kind of habits that show up even when you don't want to. Especially when you don't want to. Here's what you need to understand. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Everyone has goals. Everyone says they want to be fit, write the book, save the money, grow the business. That's easy. But goals don't get results, habits do. It's the boring repetition, the small daily choices, the little promises you keep to yourself when no one's watching. That's what wins. That's what builds the momentum. The person who gets up and moves their body every morning, even when they don't feel like it. They're going to beat the person who works out only when they're motivated. Every single time. This is where people get it twisted. They wait for motivation to strike before they act. That's backwards. Action comes first. Motivation comes after. You don't feel like doing something, you do it. And then the momentum creates a sense of motivation. Think about the last time you didn't want to go to the gym, but you went anyway. 10 minutes in, you were glad you showed up. That's how it works. You take action before your brain talks you out of it. Because if you wait to feel right, you'll never do the hard stuff. Your mind's number one job is to keep you safe, and that includes safe from discomfort, effort, risk, and growth. So you can't trust your feelings. You can't wait for some magical push. You need a plan, a routine, a structure that works when you don't want to. You need to decide in advance, what do you do when it's hard? What's your system for showing up when you're tired, discouraged, or just not in the mood? That's where the real work is. That's where you build resilience, not when everything's going great, but when it's not and you follow through anyway. Habits remove the drama from the process. You don't have to make 100 decisions a day when your habits are locked in. You just do the thing. It's automatic. You don't have to negotiate with yourself about whether you should write today. You sit down and write, because that's what you do. You don't wonder if you should go for the run. You lace up your shoes and go, because that's what's on the schedule. Motivation is loud and unreliable. Habits are quiet and consistent. One is emotion-based, the other is identity-based, and identity wins every time. Because at the end of the day, you are what you do consistently, not what you say, not what you intend, not what you plan. If your habits don't line up with your goals are irrelevant. Your habits are your real priorities. Want to know what your future looks like? Look at what you do daily. That's the truth. It's not sexy. It's not exciting, but it's real. And it's powerful because it puts the control back in your hands. You don't have to feel inspired. You don't have to wait for perfect conditions. You just have to show up and do the work. So forget motivation. Stop chasing a feeling. Build a system. Build discipline. Build tiny habits that compound into massive change. Because when motivation fails, and it will, your habits are what will carry you through. Habits win. Every single time. Get uncomfortable on purpose. That's the shift. That's the edge. That's the space where everything you want actually lives. We're all wired to chase comfort. Our brains are designed to keep us safe, to keep us from risk, to keep us inside the familiar. But that comfort zone you keep clinging to, it's not safety, it's a cage. It's routine disguised as security. It's the predictable data, a grind that slowly kills your potential while convincing you everything's fine. The problem is, fine is the enemy of great. And the only way out is to do the exact thing your brain doesn't want you to do. Step straight into discomfort, on purpose, every single day. People think courage is some lightning bolt moment where you suddenly feel bold and fearless and ready to take on the world. That's not how it works. Courage is built through micro decisions to lean into what feels awkward, uncertain, and difficult over and over again. You have to train yourself to go toward resistance. That means saying yes to the hard conversation. That means raising your hand when your heart's pounding. That means doing the workout when you're tired, calling the client when you're nervous, hitting publish when it's not perfect. Not because it's easy, but because it's hard. Discomfort is the gym for your mindset. It's the training ground where confidence, discipline, grit, and resilience are built. You want to grow. You want to break through your limits. You want to actually become the person you keep saying you want to be. Then stop avoiding the hard stuff. Stop organizing your life around ease. Start seeking the thing that makes your stomach flip. That's the signal you're going in the right direction. Here's the truth no one tells you. Growth always feels like discomfort. Always. You never expand inside your comfort zone. You expand the moment you do something that challenges the version of yourself you've been playing small for. You expand every time you choose the cold shower, the early alarm, the uncomfortable truth, the harder option. That's how you break the pattern. That's how you build a life that's not ruled by fear or convenience, but by intention. And yes, it's going to suck at first. That's the point. Your body will resist, your mind will argue, your excuses will scream. That's not a sign to stop. That's a sign you're right where you need to be. If your goals don't make you uncomfortable, they're not big enough. If your schedule doesn't stretch you, it's not designed for growth. If your habits are easy, you're probably staying the same. That's not to say life needs to be miserable. This isn't about suffering for no reason. It's about being strategic with your discomfort, deliberate. You put resistance in your path so you become stronger. You pick the harder road so you get tougher. You choose the moment of awkwardness today so you don't live with regret tomorrow. And here's what's wild. The more you seek discomfort, the less power it has over you. It stops being scary. You build up tolerance. You realize you can handle more than you thought. You walk into situations that used to paralyze you and you're calm, focused, even excited. Not because they got easier, but because you got stronger. That's what happens when you treat discomfort like a workout instead of a warning sign. Your nervous system adapts. Your self-talk changes. Your identity shifts from "I hope I can handle this" to "I do hard things." That's real transformation. Most people wait for the confidence to come first. That's backwards. Confidence is earned through voluntary discomfort. It's the result of thousands of reps doing things you didn't feel ready for, but you did them anyway. It's not a gift. It's a byproduct. And guess what? You don't need hours or giant leaps to start building it. One small, uncomfortable decision a day is all it takes. Make the call. Skip the sugar. Say what you mean. Show up late in the day when you'd rather quit. That one uncomfortable move compounds. It builds mental strength brick by brick. So stop avoiding discomfort. Invite it. Seek it. Use it. Build your entire day around doing at least one thing that stretches you. Train your brain to stop associating discomfort with danger and start associating it with progress. Because every single break, through you've ever dreamed of is sitting just on the other side of that uncomfortable moment you've been avoiding. And the people who get what they want in life, they're not the most talented. They're not the luckiest. They're just the ones who have trained themselves to be uncomfortable on purpose. Your excuses are lying to you, every single one of them. They sound reasonable. They sound smart. They sound protective, but they're lies. They are the most convincing form of self-sabotage, and most of the time, you don't even recognize them for what they are. I don't have time. Lie. You make time for Netflix, for scrolling, for stress eating, for procrastination. It's not that you don't have time, it's that you're not choosing it. I'm too tired. Lie. You're tired because you're unfulfilled, because you're not using your energy on things that actually matter. Action fuels energy, not the other way around. I'm not ready. Lie. You'll never feel ready. No one does. Waiting for readiness is how dreams rot in place. Excuses are not harmless. They are patterns. And patterns turn into identity. You tell yourself the same things enough times, and you start believing them. You start building your life around limitations that don't even exist. You give your power away to the excuse because it's easier than owning the truth, that you're scared, that you're comfortable, that you'd rather be safe than stretched. It's not that you can't, it's that you won't. And that difference, it's everything. The most dangerous part of an excuse is how good it feels to say. It gives you instant relief. You don't have to do the hard thing. You don't have to face failure. You don't have to change. But that relief is expensive. It costs you your growth, your confidence, your momentum, your future. Here's what no one tells you. Your brain will always give you an excuse before it gives you a breakthrough. Because your brain doesn't care about your goals, it cares about survival. It wants you to stay in the cave. It wants you to stay small. So when you start reaching, when you start pushing, when you start doing something different, that's when the lies kick in. This isn't the right time. You're too old. You're not qualified. What if people judge you? Sound familiar? That's your brain trying to talk you out of your future. And if you listen, you stay exactly where you are, stuck in a loop that feels like reality. But it's really just fear in disguise. Your excuses will dress up as logic. They'll come disguised as practicality, responsibility, even humility. But you have to be smarter than your patterns. You have to interrupt the thought before it becomes a belief. You have to catch yourself when you start saying things like "I can't," or "I'll try," or "maybe later." Because the moment you speak it, your brain starts to believe it. And what you believe shapes what you do. That's why this matters so much. This isn't about motivation. This is about reprogramming your standards. You have to stop negotiating with your excuses. They're not your friends. They don't want what's best for you. They want you to avoid risk, discomfort, embarrassment, growth. But those are the exact things that lead to the life you actually want. So next time an excuse shows up, recognize it for what it is, a signal, not a stop sign, a signal that you're entering territory where growth happens, a signal that you're about to do something that matters. Use that signal, move toward it, prove it wrong, don't debate it, don't justify it, don't give it airtime, just act fast, move before your mind talks you out of it. You're not too busy, your priorities are out of alignment. You're not too tired, your routine is draining you. You're not too old, you're just listening to a culture that idolizes youth and forgets that mastery takes time. You're not too late, you're just comparing yourself to people who are on a totally different path. All of these stories, lies, convenient, familiar lies, but lies all the same. And the moment you decide to stop believing them is the moment everything starts to change. You will never eliminate excuses entirely. They will always show up, especially when you're on the edge of something important. But you can train yourself to respond differently, to see the excuse, name it, and take action anyway. That's the power. Not in avoiding the lie, but in refusing to live by it. You build a new identity one small moment at a time by choosing truth over comfort, discipline over delay, responsibility over excuses. That's how change happens. Not in giant leaps, but in tiny, defiant decisions to stop letting your excuses run the show.